Hey everybody, what's up? This is kind of one of those stake in the ground videos. It's a talking head piece. So I want to address three things. The first thing I want to address, or maybe not in this order, is something I'm aware of, not surprised of, but disappointed in, just something I want to talk about. The second thing is my gear status as of now, moving forward, and why I chose them, which probably could be its own video, but I think in the spirit of what I'm trying to do, I want to keep that separate. And three, kind of what I'm thinking about, again, for this channel as I failed to kind of go to this route this year so much. So with those three topics, let's get started. I don't know why I do that, like I have a splash screen. I don't have a splash screen. I'm never going to make one because I think they're stupid. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is this. And so we'll talk about the gear part first, get out of the way. My gear strategy, what I have right now, what I'm going to be doing, and why I chose it is this. I'll start with the camera I'm recording on right now is the Sony A74. I bought it originally, didn't love it as my only camera, but realized it was probably the best camera for what I want to do for video making, full frame, flip screen, great autofocus. The Canon R6 was good too, but they have a closed lens mount, so I want to eventually explore some of those third-party mounts or third-party lenses. So the A74, I went back to it. I got an open box deal. It came with the 28 to 70. Hold on. It came with the 28 to 70 kit lens. This guy right here, if you see it. And this thing is regarded as a piece of junk, but it was an extra like 150 bucks with the open box to get this. And it's not a piece of junk. I mean, I wouldn't use it for anything professional, but you can set it at f8 and get some good results. I shot some photos for a product I'm selling on Fred Miranda, and they were really sharp. So I wouldn't say super sharp, but they were sharp enough. And so I actually going to keep this lens. 28 to 70 is a pretty versatile focal length. The other lens I have, which is on the wider side of that 28 to 70, is this lens right now, which is the 20mm f1.8 G lens. This is my video and vlogging lens. I'm going to be continuing to use this. I really like it. It's sharp. Everything looks good. And I noticed as I bump the table, it's shaking the camera. So it's a little shaky. I'm sorry about that. And then maybe I'll stay away from it. And then the other lens I got on the other side of the 28 to 70 is this 85 Batis right here. This bad boy. This is a great lens. It's really, I use this for portraits, and this is awesome. I also use it for my kids' sports. I'm at a hockey rink or a shortened soccer field, and so most of the time I can get some good shots with the 85 1.8. And so that's my Sony kit. And so in terms of strategy, the reason why this camera or a camera like this is important, it could be the X-T4, it could be XH2, it could be a Canon R6, it could be a lot of cameras, but it had to have a flip screen. I preferred a full frame sensor. I wanted an open and very available lens mount. And so I went with the Sony A74, even after kind of bashing it. There are things I don't love about it, but 98% of what I want to do, it works great for that. So the Sony A74 is the first one. The second camera you guys have seen me use, talk about, is this camera right here. This is the Fuji X-E4. Now, I had a bunch of lenses for this. I had the 23 f2, I had the 50 f2, I had the 18 to 55. Let's see, I had the 56 1.2, the new one, the WR, and I got rid of all of them. Well, the 50 f2 is still for sale, except for this lens right here, the 27mm f2.8, because I really like this X-E4 way more than probably any other Fuji camera I've ever held. It's close. I like the X-T3 a lot, and I like the X100V. But I really like adding the thumb grip. I like the way it feels. I like the fact that it has a flip screen. I like that it has a flip up screen that the X100V does not have. So I can do waist level, and I can, do selfie stuff if I ever wanted to. Not that I do much of that. I like the grip that I can put on its Arca Swiss plate in the bottom, and the fact that I can take this all off and make it even smaller is great too. As much as I love the hybrid viewfinder on the X100V and X100 series or X Pro cameras, I didn't use it a ton as much as I like because the way it did parallax correction and stuff, I thought it was weird, so I didn't do it. Now, what surprised me was this 27mm f2.8 WR, the newest one. It's really sharp, and I like it a lot, and I like the fact they added the aperture ring to this, so that's a big deal. It's not a fast focusing lens, it's not a quiet focusing lens, it's not really a video lens at all. But it's not even a bokeh monster. It's kind of like a Ricoh GR meets an X100V or GR3X crammed together. And I can take, like I said, these accessories off and make it really small, but I get Fuji colors straight out of camera. I get that color science. And yeah, I really, really enjoy the Fuji X-E4. It's not surprising because I really liked the X-E3 and the X-E2 when I had it. So maybe this is like the Fuji camera for me, or one of the Fuji cameras for me. And I'm gonna keep only this lens for now, the 27 2.8, as this is like my go anywhere camera that has autofocus and eye detection when I need it, and it's small and it's compact and it's not as big as the Sony. So yeah, this stays in my kit. And so that fills that kind of spot. And this is I'm gonna tie this all together. It's all gonna come together. And of course, you guys know I have the Leica M10 with this 50mm Summicron, and then I also have the 7 Artisans 35 f2. They gave that to me. And I really don't see myself getting any more lenses for this system, except maybe a 28mm. I kind of want a 28. And this is just, it's slow, it's super expensive, it's well built, it's impractical. I love it. I don't see us going anywhere. And so I'm gonna keep this. I'm working on a photo project right now. We'll see how that turns out. It's gonna take me months to do, and it might not be good, but I'm gonna give it a try, and I'm shooting it on this camera. So this stays here. Now, the reason why I'm telling you all this, like I said, I'm gonna tie this all together, is I've got 3 totally different cameras. I realized this year, what I've learned, it's not over, but I've learned this calendar year, is my gas is sparked from not necessarily wanting the latest and greatest. I don't really care about that. I don't care about more megapixels, none of that stuff. What I care about is form factors and passion. And my head bounces from like a logical decision to like, go to something cheap so the price factor plays in, and small and compact and portability, and then having like a luxury camera, a passion camera. And so what I decided ultimately was, why don't you stop screwing around and buy all 3? And like I said, the Leica is like, for me, the ultimate art, for me, passion camera. And so, yep, that absolutely stays. The Fuji for me is like the go anywhere, do anything, pocketable, jacket pocketable, good color science, straight out of camera, easy to use snapshot camera if you want it to be, and it can do some video if I have to in a pinch. It fits that, fills that void. And of course my Sony is like, if someone calls me and says, hey, I want to do some portraits, or can you fill in and shoot this wedding, or I'm going to go do some vlogging, or whatever it is, which by the way is going to be happening, it's a Sony A74. And so, yeah, Leica with the 35 7 Artisans and the 50 Summicron, the Fuji with the 27 2.8, and then this Sony A74 with the 21.8, the 28-70, and the 85 1.8 Batis. That is my kit. And I will add some lenses maybe throughout the next year, but I know I've said this before, I plan not to change away from this setup going forward because I feel like it really encompasses all of the things that I gas between. So I'm really happy with it, and I'm gonna keep it. Now, in saying that, let's move on to the disappointed part and this channel. There is no doubt in my mind that watching YouTube review videos and you know, I'm out of boredom or whatever, fuels my gas. And I'm also aware of that I didn't have the right, so like I'll watch a video like, oh, the Ricoh GR is the best one, or the X100V is the best one, or you should own a Leica, or hey man, this Sony's A7R5, all these videos out, like I'd go all over the place. And so I realized in watching that fueled my gas. And so I gotta pull back on that content a little bit, or at least change my mindset around it, knowing I have a camera that can fill all of that. But I also realized the channel I have right now is not really a channel I want, from the perspective of it fuels my gas too, and it's not really a healthy place to be in from like creating or documenting or whatever. And I'm just kind of sick of the review videos. It doesn't mean I won't do them. It's just like, okay, for example, TT Artisans reached out to me, and they have a 27 2.8 competitor to this lens. They're gonna send it to me, it's on its way. I'll compare it to the lens that's on the camera now. I'll do that review. But I also realize I'm just like every other Joe Schmo on YouTube that's making bullcrap comparisons of gear, and this is why I'm upset. I made a video, if I remember to do it in post, I'll link it up here or here, wherever it is, when I had the Lumix S5 of my kids. Now, the reason why I'm disappointed is it got barely any views. I think it's like 300 views. And candidly, it's the video that I made that's probably, for me, my favorite one I put on there. I've made other ones I don't share with you guys because of this exact reason. YouTube doesn't care so much about the art unless you're really good at it and people found you for that reason and they stick around for it. Like, there are a handful of channels that really are there for the photography and the art. You know, like I mentioned a few that I watch, like Paul Smith, you got the art and adventure guy, right? But they don't do nearly the numbers as like a Jared Pollan or Tony Northrup or Tony and Chelsea, I shouldn't forget about her, or Taylor Jackson or whatever, right? These guys, they do big numbers. Even Camera Conspiracies, right? He's comedy, I think that's why, but he's constantly changing gear. And so in this title, I put like every camera I own just to get you to watch it. And what I realize is if I put something on there that's just, I don't know, like I made a video, you know, that's kind of artsy, or I'm showing my photos or whatever, and I don't put the gear in there, nobody watches. Because YouTube is a search engine, search algorithm, and it's unfortunate. Paul Smith, the guy I keep talking about, he made a video, I think about 2 weeks ago, and he was real honest about why he shoots the cameras he does. And what he mentions is he's like, I shoot the Hasselblads, I think he has a Hasselblad, and Leicas, his Leica film cameras, he has a Leica M8. Part of it is because it gets people to show up. It's like people crave these Leica cameras, or they crave like the latest Sony or the latest Nikon or whatever, the latest Canon, and that's why they show up. And people don't actually care about your photos too much unless you're like way out and above and beyond other people out there. And even then it's like interpretive, right? And so I've always kind of like pulled back from the form of content where maybe I'm vlogging, bringing you guys along for the ride, showing my photos, learning in the process, or making like a video about my kids or something I did. Because honestly, you guys, no one's going to care about my kids as much as I care about my kids. It's just not possible. I don't expect you guys to care at all. But it was disappointing because I threw it out there amongst all these like review short videos I do, and it got like no views. It's not searchable. I didn't put a camera title in it. I just didn't. And it wasn't a review. It wasn't a comparison. And it just confirmed more of it. But the reality is, I got to change my style up a little bit. And so maybe there's some hybrid of it that comes out of this channel moving forward. Like, for example, right, I'm traveling to Vegas in 2 weeks. I won an opportunity to race a McLaren race car around the track, you know, barring any kind of like sickness or illness or weather issues that happen. I'll be doing that at the end of the month, end of November. And I would like to vlog that and tell the story. And I don't know how I incorporate photos into that because I don't know if I'll have a chance to do it, but like, I want to bring you guys along for the content. I want to bring you guys along for those types of things. And what I suspect of the 3,500 something subscribers I have of this date, most of you here because you've searched a camera, one of the 5 billion cameras I've had over the last 3 years. And maybe you stuck around because you're like, this guy's crazy, he changes cameras every week. Or maybe you're like, maybe you're as gassy as I am. You know? And what's cool about this though, is I have about 10 to 20 people that I talk to on a somewhat regular basis through either Instagram messaging, Telegram, iMessage, we talk on the phone. People I've never met in person that are like friends, photo friends. Literally, people have sent me stuff. Like, I got a Canon FD lens. I have also part of my kit, I have still my film stuff. I got a Canon FD lens for free. I've got Leica accessories for free. I've gotten stuff sent me from Fuji stuff for free. And that's the best part of this whole thing. But what I'm disappointed, I'm afraid of, if I'm being honest, is that as I drift away from doing constant like buying and selling and whatever of gear and all that stuff, I'm afraid that most of this audience doesn't tune in. And I've seen it not only on my channel, I've seen it on other channels as well. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't make any money off this. I think the ad revenue stream from YouTube is like 65, 75 bucks a month. Hardly worth it. It's a half tank of gas in my big truck. So it's not for the money. It's really because I enjoy this and I enjoy the people in the community, and I do enjoy gear. Like, it is a hobby. I do like it. But it also is an exhausting hobby. It's you're always stuck going nowhere hobby. And candidly, I would like my presence on YouTube to be known as something more. I'd like you guys to know me a bit more. And I'd like to share some of my work, whether it's good or bad, more. So I think that wraps this 15 minutes I've been talking. This is a one-take wonder. This is just candid. So that's my gear. I'm disappointed because I I know people don't actually tune in for stuff that matters to me. So I think we'll transition a little segue, still some gear conversation. We'll still talk about it, but there's gonna be more of like content around me and storytelling and that kind of stuff for the future of this channel. Like I said, if a company I want to work with reaches out to me and sends me a piece of gear I'm interested in, I'll review it. I have that TT Artisans lens coming for the Fuji. I will shoot it for a week, maybe 2, compare it to the 27 I have. Let's see what I like more, and give you guys an honest feedback on it. So after all said and done, I hated Sony my entire life, but here I am with Sony. And I think if you guys are gassing out, the 2 takeaways here, one of them is gassing out, build a camera strategy, understand your gas cycle, and build a camera strategy around that. And if you can fit it all into one ecosystem, even better. 3 ecosystems is kind of stupid. But for me, like I knew, I went from like technological, highly capable to art passion camera to point and shoot type style camera. So I'm going to play into that. So, all right, 16 minutes of me rambling. If you watch this whole thing, God bless your soul. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.